guys, it's Eric, owner of Farpoint Farms here in the mountains of North Carolina, and tonight I'm going to do another type of CB radio review. Now this isn't a review of a specific radio, but another review of a type of radio. Now we've covered base stations, mobile installs, and walkie-talkies. Well, it's time to cover pretty much, well, we've also covered those emergency help radios. We did that one too. This is kind of the last type of radio, and it really doesn't have an official name that I'm aware of, but I've given it an official name over the years, and that's the one-hander. And that's a radio like this, and this is what I would consider to be an ultra-compact radio. This is a mobile install radio. Of course, you could use it as a base station, I'm sure. But this type of radio is for people who have no room even for something like a TRC 503 like this, the little subcompact radio I did a review on some time back. This radio fits everything you need right into the microphone, right into where the mic goes. So as long as you have a place to hang a mic hook, like this one here, well, you've got room for an entire CB radio. So let's take a look close up at some of these. I have this one here that I just got, and I'll get into this one in another video, but I've already done one on the Uniden that I have, which looks like this, and really the people that invented the one-hander would be Radio Shack, the realistic one-hander like this. And these date back to the 23-channel days, you know, the old school. And what they were doing was taking a full CB radio and you tuck that in someplace underneath your car, and you can see the box, what it looked like here with a big main unit. And in comparison, here's what the main unit looks like now. Surface mount technology, we've come a long way. This is pretty much just a antenna slash power distribution box that you can hide underneath your car. But those old ones were pretty much the bulk of the radio. And then you had the handheld portion of it, like this here. Well, here's a couple of them. Here's one here, and here's another one here. And of course, we got newer ones as well, and that's this one that I have with me tonight is a Cobra. All right? But Uniden has just come out with one that's really nice looking. And Midland makes one. And Midland's is cool because it also doubles as a walkie-talkie, so that's nice. Anyway, back to this type of radio. So if you have a vehicle that has no room, you know, these modern cars that don't have a place for a double din radio, it doesn't have a spot underneath the dash, which many of them don't anymore, you have very limited space, or you just don't want to have one mounted somewhere. These, like this here, I mean, it fits everything in there. Now, I've got these installed on several of my cars. I had one in my old winter beater car that I still have in there. That's the Uniden that I have. And they used to have a Cobra, which I'll be making a review of very shortly. Actually, I've already filmed it. I just haven't got around. It's an older Cobra. I think it's the model 70 LTX. Here's a picture of it here. And that Cobra, I used for years. Now, those were more, elderly models, and they had just a few functions. They had your screen, which was, just your 40-channel or 23-channel indicator, or in the case of the old Radio Shacks, a manual dial with a lit-up knob there that would tell you the 23 channels you were on. They had that, and then they also, some of them would have maybe a bar graph, a 5 LED bar graph to tell you signal strength. So, and then on the controls, you had your channel up, down, you had your power, you had your power on, off, / volume, and your squelch. That pretty much was the limit of what those 80s and 70s models were capable of. And that's where the big change is as far as these modern ones. And I'll use this one as an example because I happen to have one with me that I just picked up really inexpensively. And these usually go for a whole lot more. But this is a Cobra model 75 WXST. And this packs in pretty much, I would say, all of the functions of the Cobra 18WX, which I've done a review on it somewhere, which is a DIN mount, size 1. But you get your weather band, you get scan functions, you get dual watch, you get noise reduction in various forms. This one even goes farther and gives you programmable buttons to give you the channels you want, one point, and go. The downside to these more modern radios, and again, let me show you a close-up of this picture while I describe some of the stuff on here. Look at all the buttons this Cobra has here. You've got your CB / weather band button, you've got your scan button, you've got your dual watch button, you've got a 919 button, you've got memory buttons that allow you to add and store those channels in those, and then you've got your sound tracker button, your volume, squelch, you've got a lock button so you don't accidentally push a button, and then on the side, of course, you do have the up, down, and the transmit button. So that's a lot going on there, but it gets even weirder with these more modern ones, and that is this little screen here is actually quite small and quite hard to read if you look at it. Sure, it looks great when it's blown up on your you know, on your laptop or your home computer and you got this thing zoomed in, but this picture is bigger than real life. There's a lot of information being displayed on there, and it kind of makes it confusing. And I worry a little bit about distracted driving when it comes to that. The Midland is the same way. It has similar functions. Here's a picture of it. And again, the cool thing about the Midland is you can slide the base off of it, slide a battery pack onto it, add a rubber duck antenna, and now you have a walkie-talkie. So it's really a functional CB. If you want to go the route of I just want one radio to do everything, that's pretty much it. You could buy two bases, you know, the base units. You could have one set in your car. You could have another one set to a base antenna here, and you could have the walkie-talkie battery pack, and you could literally have one little unit that does it all. Unfortunately, these don't do sideband, but that's pretty much the norm for these. I don't think they've ever made one of these that does sideband, but they're really cool if you want to use them for what they're good for. But again, I'm a little worried as far as this one. This is the first modern one I've ever owned, about having too many functions available to you while you're driving down the road. So I guess you'd have to sit there and kind of program it all in maybe beforehand. Now, the older ones, like I said, having less functions, and I've never touched a unit and I've never seen one up close, but this brand new unit in here, it looks like it's a little larger screen, maybe a little less functionality, but in that sense that might actually be a positive because it's a little less cluttered on the screen, a little less things to think about, maybe a little more intuitive to just pick up and use. So that's it. That's the handhelds, the one-handers. So it's not a walkie-talkie, it's not a base station, it's not a mobile, and it's not an emergency help radio. It is a one-hander. I don't know what the official name for those things are, but I think Realistic, Radio Shack, they coined the phrase one-hander back in the day, and it seems like a good idea to me. So if you like this video, please think about liking and subscribing, and I'll make another one. In fact, in a little bit here, I'm going to probably hook this thing up and do a review of it in particular. I'm kind of excited to use it. I am going to be installing it in one of my cars, maybe my wife's car. She doesn't know that yet because she really doesn't like CB radios, but so be it. Anyway, I'm Eric, owner of Farpoint Farms. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Take care.
There's always something that needs a little fixing on Farpoint Farms. Freedom is mighty sweet, liberty sows its seed at Farpoint.